My name's Catherine Scott and I work here in Fermanagh County Museum as the Education Officer. And at the moment we are in a gallery which is relating to cultural diversity within Fermanagh and Omagh District Council, celebrating world cultures from people who have settled and have made their life now in the Fermanagh and Omagh District Council area. And what we have here are 14 different cultures represented, and they're represented in a various number of ways. So we have a wall hanging, we have oral history recordings, we have costume, we have artefacts, we have everyday objects from people who have settled here from around the world. And those cultural objects really provide a forum for us as a museum to open the conversation, and that conversation around emigration, that conversation around integration, and allowing both the local community and those people who have settled within the local community to come and explore different aspects of culture. And I think when we think about culture, we might ordinarily think about the most obvious facets of culture. So we may think of language, we may think of costume, but what is on show here really demonstrates that culture is a much wider entity than those sort of elements that are really the tip of the iceberg when it comes to culture. Everyday pieces can tell so much about a culture and so much about a person. And indeed the artefacts here on display, it's not even the importance of the artefact in and of themselves. The importance is the story associated with that artefact and what it tells about the person, and why, having moved to another country, that artefact remains so important to them, because it relates to their culture and to their cultural heritage and demonstrates a great element of importance of their cultural heritage even now they're settled in another area. And this work really is part of work which has been going on for years between Good Relations and the museum here in Enniskillen, where we have organised many events, where we have organised many education programmes and exhibitions, trying really to explore cultural diversity within the area, trying to provide a forum for integration. And all of this work over this period of time has been funded and is supported between the Good Relations, the museum, and also Stormont and T-Book, and that element of building a united community within the community here in Enniskillen and also in Omagh. A lovely sort of way of looking at it, I've often thought in terms of good relations. If you think of the word community, if you break it down, that it's community, so that bringing those aspects together, we have an element of unity within our society and with our community here. So what we're going to do then is to have a look at some of the artefacts which are on display, and the artefacts then range from 14 different cultures within the area. This is an example of a small traditional Chinese wedding basket, beautifully decorated with 2 tiers. It is rich in legacy and tradition. Wedding baskets in China are still used today. Perhaps then the most iconic piece, again linked with the Chinese culture, is the lion head. And we're all, I suppose, familiar with this bright red lion head, symbolising strength, stability and superiority. Often dances are performed on festive occasions as a means of chasing out evil spirits and welcoming in those prosperous times.
And also we talk so much about the yin and the yang, how these two, the movement, the yin move to yang, yang move to yin, and yet there's yang in the yin in the yang.
Now we have a mummers model, and this belongs to our own collection within the museum and highlights the strong tradition of mumming within County Fermanagh. And I quote, "Mumming is a living tradition from pre-Christian times that celebrated important seasonal changes in the year. We collect models to provide people with an explanation to the acting out of mumming, which is still alive and well in Fermanagh today."
I want to promote mumming because my father done it, and I done it for a right few years, and I want to pass it on to my youngest son.
Next then, we have the Irish dance costume, something with which we are all familiar. And this particular Irish dance dress is embroidered black velvet and belongs locally to Martina McCaffrey, who wore it to the local feshes and dance competitions in the 1980s. Costumes evolved around the Celtic revival in the early 1900s, which promoted Irish language, literature and the wearing of this traditional dress. Associated with it, of course, are the Irish dancing and these heavy shoes. And these shoes are traditional in design and in colour, made of leather, with a very flexible sole and fiberglass reinforcement to the heel and to the toes for making that distinct sound when dancing. They are, of course, worn with long white socks. Now we have what I suppose might be a very modern artefact and a river dance concert ticket. And as part of her River Dance Summer School 2017, Jade O'Flanagan danced on stage on the show, performing with the cast of Riverdance. And this is her mother's ticket to the show, again telling a lovely story. We have too her Irish Dancing Prize Cup for her first place in the heavy jig dancing at an Irish dancing competition in the Feis and Cashel Bar. Strongly linked with Irish dancing, we have the bun wig. Traditionally, competing Irish dancers wear a full-length Irish dress wig or a smaller bun wig. These have tight ringlet curls or looser wave curls and are considered an important part of the overall stage look. It can take up to an hour for a dancer to put on her wig and ensure that her hairstyle is beautiful but still secure. And these then are Irish dancing soft shoes called pumps. These are in the traditional design and in colour, made of leather with a custom foamed insole for comfort while wearing. Pumps are used while dancing light Irish dances, whether in solos or as team dances.
So Irish dancing is something I'm really passionate about. I've been dancing for 13 years, so since I was 8 years old, and it has allowed me to travel to many countries across the world and teach my skill to other people who enjoy to watch it and have always wanted to learn how to do it.
Next then, looking at the Filipino tradition, we have a toy tricycle. This miniature model of a tricycle, which is a side car and a motorbike, are indigenous in terms of an auto rickshaw and are also the most popular means of public or even private transport in small towns and cities across the Philippines. Again, related to the Filipino tradition, we have a folding fan. This fan is made from bamboo ribs and they fan out and feature a couple dancing a popular Filipino dance, the candle dance. This dance symbolises light, happiness and the balance of life. Then again we have the slingshot, and this is one of the oldest toys in the world, and toys I think like this are popular the world over. It is as popular now as it was thousands of years ago. Very often it is the first toy given to a young boy, made possibly with his own hands.
Nung isilang ka sa mundong ito, laking tuwa ng magulang mo, at ang kamay nila ang iyong ilaw. At ang nanay at tatay mo, di malaman ang gagawin, minamasdan pati pagtuloy.
Next then we have the traditional Hungarian tablecloth. And this tablecloth features traditional flowers and colours, handmade, while women would have been making these at home while rearing their young children, whilst knitting and sewing. And these are valued traditional skills which would have been passed from grandmothers to mothers and then on to daughters. The unique green pottery necklace featuring rosemary is handmade by an elderly Hungarian lady using a traditional technique. Rosemary is an important herb in the Hungarian kitchen, but also significantly it is symbolic and can be found on many embroidered Hungarian costumes. The Hungarian earrings then depict tulips and are also handmade. The tulip, of course, is a symbol of spring, of new life and a new beginning. It symbolises young girls in the Hungarian folk culture.
I'm really proud of my Hungarian culture because we have plenty of things that we could be proud of. I'm proud of the Hungarian foods that we have because we have plenty of lovely foods like salted scones that we are making or chocolate swirls. They are really famous.
We have in the Indian culture a beautiful elephant statue. And this beautifully decorated statue of an elephant is emblematic of India. They are seen as a symbol of intellectual strength and of sturdy, earthy mental strength, and it is a sacred animal. This eye-catching Indian statue is a deity and is depicted as half male and half female, equally split down the middle. The right half is usually the male part of the deity, and on the left hand side usually the female. The statue is seen to represent the synthesis of masculine and feminine energies in the universe and illustrates how the female principle of God is inseparable from the male principle of God. Next we have an Indian lady's sari. A sari is a woman's garment from the Indian subcontinent and consists of a drape which varies from between about 4.5 to 8 metres in length and 60 to 120 centimetres in breadth, and is typically wrapped around the waist with one end draped over the shoulder, bearing the midriff. This is a small statue of Lord Krishna, a major deity of Hinduism and the most popular of all Indian gods. Lord Krishna is worshipped as the 8th incarnation of the Hindu god Vishnu. He is considered a supreme god in his own right.
I think it is very important not to label people and treat them according to their labels, because you can think of something about somebody, but when you try to talk to them, they come across as a totally different individual.
Another very eye-catching piece is a model of an Irish traveller wagon. It is handmade from matchsticks by Martin McDonagh for this particular exhibition. And it reminisces really of the skills in the times when travellers used to make handcrafted objects to support their families by selling them. This beadie pocket is a modern example handmade by Mary McDonagh in 2015. Beadie pockets were once part of traditional dress of traveller women and were worn on the outside of their skirt and tied at the back. Each was made to personal taste, but followed similar shapes and embroidered patterns. Buttons, brooches and medals exchanged between friends were often added over time. Pockets held small things of value and kept personal items safe. Next, we have a selection of tin objects. These tin objects were made by tinsmith Mickey Doherty in the 1950s. This group of objects includes 2 tin mugs, a grater, a paraffin lamp and a teapot known as a tea drawer. In the past, tinsmiths were an essential part of daily life, making tin vessels for use in the home and on the farm. Mickey was also a brilliant fiddle player. Next we have an Irish traveller tin lantern. This lantern was made by Mike Mongan in the 1960s. Tin lanterns were needed in the days before electricity. They were used to hold and to protect a candle. Examples such as this were beautifully handmade from tinned iron. Decoration is added by punching holes and slits from inside the lantern. It also created necessary air holes for the candle. These Latvian small linen table mats feature a traditional pattern which uses ancient Latvian signs and symbols of nature. Summer and winter solstice and spring and autumn equinox, Latvian gods and goddesses. This Lego headband and its weaving is one of the most important Latvian solstice traditions. Its circular shape is a symbol of the sun, and the flowers in the work are used to represent the power of various plants and herbs. The ornate ribbon too has a meaning. It is decorated with ancient signs of symbol of nature, Latvian gods and goddesses. The Latvian mittens are snowproof mittens handmade by Vera Spruge for her daughter some 30 years ago. They are made from wool from the sheep on Vera's farm and are coloured with natural dyes like oak leaves and blueberries. They feature a traditional Latvian design and a pattern which uses an ancient Latvian symbol of the sun.
Every Latvian loves dancing and singing. Like every Latvian, even if they have a house party or so, they will all sing and dance and that's every Latvian's passion.
Lai vienmēr būtu saule, lai vienmēr būtu mēnesis, lai vienmēr būtu mājas, lai vienmēr būtu.
Also on display then we have the Gediminas Tower. This is a decorative miniature porcelain tower named after Gediminas, the Grand Duke of Lithuania, who is regarded as the founder and builder of Lithuania's capital Vilnius. The tower is an important state and historic symbol of the country, and it is the only remaining part of the upper castle in Vilnius. This Lithuanian amber necklace Amber is of course a natural semi-precious stone, and Lithuania is known for its amber mines and industry. Amber is regarded as Lithuanian gold. It is harvested from the shores of the Baltic Sea. Most Lithuanian women would have a piece of amber jewellery. Lithuanian woven sash. This traditional Lithuanian linen woven sash features the national colours and characteristic weavings in geometric patterns. The Lithuanian children's costume is a traditional young girl's costume and features a plaid skirt with a matching vest, a white linen blouse and embroidered apron. The sash tied around the waist matches the pattern embroidered on the apron. The unique pillbox hat is beautifully decorated and finished with long ribbons in the colours of the Lithuanian national flag and is trailed down the back.
I've been living in Enniskillen for 10 years now. Whenever I came over here, I found the language a big barrier, especially whenever I started going to school. Now, Enniskillen is my home.
This Polish Highlanders hat is an essential part of the kit for Polish Highlanders folk costume. The hat was made of felt and impregnated with animal fat to make it waterproof. The wealthy decorated their hats with ribbons of cowrie shells from the Maldives, which were used as shell money worldwide. The Highlanders hat protected from the elements, but it was also used to carry food, fan fires and signal over long distances. This Polish scarf then represents the red and white, reflective of the national colours of Poland. They are the colours of the Polish flag and the national coat of arms. The red symbolises the bloodshed in the country's fight for independence, and the white symbolises peace. Poland celebrates Flag Day on the 2nd of May. Here we also have a replica of a Polish Highlanders axe. And this axe is important in terms of Polish tradition. The axes had forged steel heads and a pointed end and were used on rocky and icy ground. They were used too as tools, but also as weapons, walking sticks and dance props, and they can be beautifully designed and very ornate. Here we have the Polish Scots belt. The original Polish Scots leather belt is about 40 years old. It features the characteristic Polish Scots buckle with the salute "Be Vigilant" embossed upon it. A Scout would have carried their own finished knife in a leather scabbard hanging from the belt. Here we also have a rope descender, and this is a handmade cave abseiling descender, which would have been used when exploring caves in Poland.
So I'm really proud of Poland because of our food. Many people are complimenting our Polish national foods. For example, pierogi are one of the most popular foods that almost everyone knows.
Here then we have a piece with which we are all familiar. We may even have a set at home. And this is a set of Russian wooden nested dolls. And these are a set of traditional wooden dolls of decreasing size placed inside one another called matryoshka dolls. The first Russian nested doll set was made in and around 1890. Usually the other layer is a woman dressed in a long, shapeless, traditional Russian dress. The figures inside may be of either gender, with the smallest doll, typically a baby, made from a single piece of wood. Much of the artistry is in the painting of each doll, which can be very elaborate and often themed. Here we have a Russian musical instrument, the balalaika. It is a traditional Russian musical instrument with a characteristic triangular wooden hollow body with a fretted neck and 3 strings. 2 strings are usually tuned to the same note, and a third one, a 4th higher note. Balalaikas are often used in Russian folk music. This balalaika also marks the 1980 Olympic Games when they were held in Moscow. Again, another piece representing an animal is a decorative porcelain pig in a distinctive Russian style of ceramics. The style takes its name from the village of Gazhel, where it has been produced since 1802. Gazhel is a Russian folk handcrafted ceramics production of a very high quality. Next we have a Russian lady's scarf. Traditionally, Russian women used shawls as headwear or to put them around their shoulders or around their waist. Russia is a country with a very long tradition of producing shawls and headscarves of the finest elegance. The designs vary and are often inspired by the local colour of an enormous Russia.
I love Russian songs, Russian traditional songs. Доли по улице метелица метет, за метелицей мой миленький идет.
Next then, in terms of costume, again we have a Syrian man's robe and a Syrian bisht. And this is a traditional robe worn to the ankle with a loose top and is usually tailored like a long skirt. Long loose cotton trousers called surwal are worn beneath it. A bisht is a dressy man's cloak, sometimes worn over the throbe. It is particularly common among high-ranking government officials, religious leaders, or worn on special occasions such as weddings.
I am Imad Al-Rawajdi. I living in Oma. People here are very friendly, always smiling. I encourage it for other families to stay. In Oma, I love my neighbors in Oma.
Ulster Scots. Here we have a tenor drum. And Jimmy Smith used to play this tenor drum when he was a child. It was passed down to his young grandson, Lewis Smith. The tenor drum is the first drum a drummer starts with before moving on to a snare drum. The lumbago drum is the biggest drum in the Ulster Scots tradition. We also have Ulster Scots tenor drumsticks and Ulster Scots socks. These are traditional kilt hose socks with kilt garner flashes. These socks are knee-high and usually made of wool. The colour of the kilt flashes matches the colour of the kilt, the Ulster Scots sporran bag. This pouch is a traditional part of the male outfit. It serves as a pocket when he is wearing a kilt. These are made of leather or fur or ornamented to complement the outfit.
My granda gave me the drum when I was like a couple of years ago, and I've been drumming for 2 years. I'm in a band and it's Edenderry Pipe Band.
Next we have a Bulgarian pottery jug, a barduche. This is a traditional miniature stomna or pottery water jug called barduche. It makes a whistling noise when full of water and air is blown in the nozzle. These little jugs can be of a different colour and beautifully decorated. They are often used as souvenirs and even toys. Next we have a Bulgarian wooden drinking flask bottle, a butlitska. This is a traditional Bulgarian wine vessel. It is made of wood and has a round body, a short neck, a wooden top and 4 legs. The leather strap at the top is used as a handle to carry it. Butlitskas are usually decoratively engraved and or painted and are used on special celebratory occasions such as weddings and christenings. Next we have a martinitsa. In March, Bulgarians welcome the approaching spring by celebrating the traditional custom of Baba Marta or Granny Marta. They give each other martinistas to wish good health, longevity, good luck and happiness. Martinitsa is made of twined red and white threads of wool, silk or cotton. The white colour is the symbol of strength, purity and happiness, and the red is associated with good health, blood and fertility. Here we have a wooden protective glove, a palamarka. This wooden protective glove, called a palamarka, is used for reaping grain harvest with a sickle. It protects the last 3 fingers of the left hand. It has 2 functions. Firstly, to act as an extension of the hand and to gather a bigger bundle of grain, and secondly, to protect the hand from cutting injuries. This is a small Bulgarian pouch bag called a torba, traditionally made of woven sheep or wool from a goat. These would have been used by shepherds and field workers to carry their food and small necessities when out and about. The bags are usually beautifully decorated and in various colours.
I'm so proud of my beautiful country Bulgaria. I'm so proud of the lovely food. I'm so proud wearing Bulgarian traditional costume, and I feel so proud and happy when I do Bulgarian traditional dances. Also, the Bulgarian folklore is unique. The most beautiful famous is the Bulgarian Rose Valley.
Then we have the Over the Rainbow Our Story wall hanging, and this I think is one of the most eye-catching pieces within the exhibition area, lovingly made and handmade by people in the area. It's an artistic wall hanging telling the story of Over the Rainbow, a bilingual children's book with pictures, and as I say, lovingly handmade by a community group of friends from different countries and ethnic backgrounds of various ages. It depicts the story of a little girl's journey through an unknown world and leaves the big question, what would you do? And it really relates to, I suppose, what is fundamental to the exhibition here as a whole, and that is our sense of belonging and where we feel at home.